It's a coming. Hey, here we are. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Planters Knowledge Vodcast. I am super excited to be here with this guest. Y'all don't know. I've been trying to get a hold of her for a while. Our paths crossed in so many places and spaces that it was just like we have to make this happen. And today is this is the day. This is the day that we have made it come to pass. Welcome, 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 Carolyn Wilson. How are you? Yes, you know. Come on.
Look, I can put some more bracelets on so I can ring some more.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you. So I'm looking at the people in the chat. I said I want to give a shout out to my Pastor G, Pastor Regina Goodrich from Mediator Lutheran Church. I see her on there. What's going on? Now it's the other way around. I usually tune into her. Now she's tuning into me.
Look at that.
So
Look at
yes.
that.
And hello to everyone else who's tuning in. So yeah. Oh my gosh. This has been how they say, it's been a long time coming.
Yes. Yes.
But change gonna come.
Y'all get ready because we got a co-DJ here tonight. Who knows what songs are gonna pop up out of us this evening?
I have no idea. That's what they keep telling me. They keep telling me I'm supposed to be a DJ, and I'm like, I'm not that quick. I think in songs, but if I had to be I don't know if it will come out that fast. I probably wouldn't find it fast enough. But
look, it's only one way to find out. Ain't nothing. You right? Just do it and see what happens. That's it. You took me back to the 80s. Wicka.
Yo, listen, look, I was a B girl back in the day. Don't let all the the judge fool you. Like I used to be a B girl. I was break dance. I used to rap. Listen, I had my radio like LL Cool J. I used to walk around with my big behind radio, the double decker radio. Don't get it twisted.
Pastor G, did you know? Did you know?
That was the accessory. You had to have your Adidas. And you had to have your radio.
Yes.
Just walk around the neighborhood with a big behind radio. Like
come on.
We were interesting back in the day.
We were strong. Yes, we carried a lot with us.
Yes, we were. And don't talk about the big bass woofer in the car. Yeah, I'm gonna tell it all. I'm gonna tell it.
Look, when you said magnify your essence, they didn't know all what was getting magnified this evening. Come on.
I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna tell it all. But that was, that was the older me. That was the me from back in the day.
Yes.
And you grow, hashtag growth. There's growth in all of us.
Come on, y'all, put hashtag growth in there. We love that.
Hashtag growth. Growth. So everybody has, I used to have the asymmetric hair, had the big door knocker earrings. Yeah, I was a round the way girl. Yes. Hashtag
I love it. See, y'all, this is why I love talking with our authors, because everyone has their own journey and their own story. And here on Planners Knowledge Podcast, we get a chance to talk to a variety of authors and learn their journey, because we never know whose story will inspire us to share our stories, right? We all are made up of so many different stories, different genres. And I'm super excited to have Carolyn. I can just sit and take notes. So y'all already know, if you are new to any of my podcasts, what do I always tell y'all? Put it in the chat. For those who know, get your pen and your papers ready. Take some notes, because you're going to walk away with something. And I want to make sure that you grab it. Of course, you can always hit that replay. Look, look, she knows. You can always hit the replay. Make sure you share and make sure you subscribe to Ask Dr. Walls 525 on the YouTube side of life. Ask Dr. Walls on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. I keep it pretty much the same. And of course, we want to make sure that you chime in and tap in and follow Carolyn. Now, Carolyn, yours is, I'm trying to remember, Magnify.
Yeah. So it depends on, Magnify Your Essence.
Yes.
On all social media platforms. If you go to my link tree, that what I put in here. So Linktree / Carolyn Wilson, my name, it takes you to all of everything. So on Instagram, I'm Be Magnified. Yeah, there you go. So I'm on Instagram, I'm Be Magnified. On Facebook, I'm Magnify Your Essence. If you just Google me, you'll find me.
You'll find her.
We'll just leave it at that.
You'll find her.
You'll find
All
me.
right. Well, let's start to give the people a little flavor about who you are and what you have done in this fantastic Magnify Your Essence. So let's just talk a little bit about background. Where did you come from? How did you end up to where you are right now?
Still trying to figure that out. Lord have mercy. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Fair enough.
Because it's a continuous journey. Like I can't even fathom where I'm at right now in this place and space that I exist. I didn't see this. I didn't even know this was possible.
Yes.
But that's what we say. God takes everything that's impossible and makes it possible.
Yes.
I had no clue. It may have been a thought, a fleeting thought.
Yeah.
It may have been something subconsciously within my spirit. But listen, growing up, I was, we say now life be lifing, but life was always lifing for me.
Yes. Yes. Real
life
life
was always lifing for me. I'm a survivor. I'll just throw it out there. I'm a survivor of sexual child abuse. My father was my abuser. My biological father was my abuser. And, which led into, multiple domestic violence, intimate partner, type of relationships, which then led to, depression, which led to bouts with homelessness, which led to, insecurities, which led to, you name them. It led to a teenage pregnancies, children out of wedlock, multiple baby daddies. I got two babies. I got my two-piece, so I'm that's as real as it's going to get, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I can do this. Like, don't let the smile fool you, because it took a lot to get to this smile.
Yes.
It took a lot to get to this smile. # growth all day, every day. So, how did I get here? We only have an hour show, but I'll be able to give them something today.
Yeah. So
I don't know if anybody resonated with any of those things that I said. I forgot on welfare, like everything possible that would keep you down, right? To diminish your light. It occurred in my life. It was my life. That was my life, right? I didn't need to watch a Lifetime movie because I was living it. I didn't need to sit down every Sunday and binge watch on, 8 to 10 hours of somebody else's story, because I was living it 24/7. Come on.
Yep. Yep.
I was living it 24/7.
Yeah.
So, when do you get to a place? When and how do you get to a place of, enough is enough? I'll give you an example. I was just speaking with my daughter, right? And so, we have to have these hard conversations, right? Yeah. So she's, it's coming of age. She's 21. And, we literally just had a really heart-to-heart conversation. I said, let me just tell you, no one told me. No one gave me anything. No, my mother didn't explain anything to me. Clearly, my father didn't explain anything to me. But he taught me a lot, but he just didn't teach me the right thing, right? And so you go through this life trial and error.
Yes.
And you go through this life and you figure it out. And so when I did the math, we say the math don't be mathing. Now, okay, I know I'm using a lot of vernacular and I'm using a lot of slang, but I have to keep it 100% real, because I have to meet people where they're at. So don't get it twisted. I am very educated, but I also know where I'm from, right? And I know that the reality is, my story is no different than anyone else's. And it doesn't matter what titles you have before you or after you, right? Because it had to start from somewhere.
Yes.
So I broke it down to her and I said, listen, I will be 55 this year. I know I look amazing, don't I?
Yes, you do.
No shame in my game.
That's right.
Ask me that about 20 years ago, I wouldn't have did all of that, right? But when I really broke it down, I said, well, listen, I spent, this amount of time with this person. I spent this amount of time with that person. this happened, that happened. I said, wait a minute, let's break this down. I spent, it was 40 years of my life. 40 years. I'll be 55. So if you want to take away, the other, 10 to 15 years, because I'm a kid, let's just do the math. The math isn't mathing.
Yeah.
That was the majority of my life, just lifing.
Yes.
Going through life without a clue. Without anyone giving me solid instructions or direction,
guidance,
any guidance, for no one to give me the, to let me know, for me to value me, so I can understand my worth and understand who I am, to understand whose I am.
Yes.
And, it really took a journey. It took a journey of me really, once I got to a place and space of, I recognized where things were, the way things were. And I didn't really like the way that felt.
Yes.
So I'm going to take a thing from Steve Harvey. A lot of people don't like him. Yeah, whatever. Take whatever. People probably don't like me either, and it doesn't matter. So when he says, you're in a situation, let's just say, take for instance, you're in a romantic relationship, or you're in a platonic, a friendship, whatever, and you only really don't like how it's mapping out, right?
Right.
It's not reciprocal. Like, it should think, when you're engaging with a person, with anybody, it's supposed to add to who you are.
That's right.
It's not supposed to make you who you are.
Right.
It's supposed to add to your own happiness, your own joy, your own worth, your own dreams, your own aspirations. It's supposed to enhance.
That's right.
It's supposed to elevate. It's supposed to support, and vice versa.
That's right.
Now, granted, it may not always be even. It might, teeter-totter every now and then, right? Because we're human. But never should the scales be like this.
That's right.
Where you're not even on the screen anymore.
That's right.
It should never leave you feeling like, I'm giving all of me and I'm getting nothing back in return.
That's right. There's got to be reciprocity.
It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah.
And you should never feel like it's like, because I remember going through this. You have, you talk about it to everybody. You talk about it. You get upset, and then you find yourself right back in the same situation. And it's like,
I tell people often that, right, you should be fantastic by yourself, and you should be fabulous together.
Yes.
So there's that elevation, as you're talking about, by being together. We're stronger together. At no point should my value depreciate because I'm with you. And so yes, GG3, right? That reciprocity is important when we look at the return on investment. And we're going to talk about that even with this author's journey, right? There's got to be the reciprocity. There has to be that return on investment for even taking this path. So now, how did you take, or when did you decide to take your life experience, as we're talking 40 plus years, and say, I'm going to start to write? When did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, that started literally 10 years ago, right? That started 10 years ago is when I really decided to take control of my life. So mind you, let's say we did the math, right? So I said I'll be 55. So I'm giving myself to about 15, right? When you should really start to be on this journey and path. And so that's 45 years. Let's take 10 years away. So now that's 35 years.
Yes.
So now the question you got to ask myself, once again, back to Steve Harvey, is, if I did not like how my life was mapping out,
progressing,
things to me never made sense. Now, I was always, I became an overachiever. If you meet an overachiever, peel back the layers and see what they've been through. Because I felt like I needed to prove something.
Got you.
I didn't know who I was proving it to, because it really wasn't to myself, right? But I was the one that was a perpetual student. I was always in school. But I still love learning, right?
Right.
But I was the one that ended up in boardrooms. I was the one that ended up in places and spaces that I would never have expected to be. And I'm like, why am I here? It felt different to be the only person, the only woman, the only woman of color, the only person of color, the only woman, the youngest. So I had all of these. I'm in this space, and I'm like, ooh, this feels like I'm how I felt.
Yes.
I still feel like this 18-year-old on welfare, but yet and still I'm in the boardroom with dignitaries and all kinds of things, making important decisions. And I'm like, and I'm sitting at the table, and I'm like, why am I at the table?
Yes.
But then I had to understand that I'm at the table for a reason, because God said that. So this is what my old pastor told me. He said, I can't remember where it's at. I think it's in Jeremiah somewhere.
Okay.
It's basically, I know a pastor probably going to be like, slap my fingers. Listen,
Pastor G, put it in there if you know, or anybody else, put it in the chat.
I can't tell you where it's at.
It's all good.
But it's all good. But I know basically he told me that I had to learn to walk amongst men before I ran with the horses. That was the gist of it. And I was like, okay. So I had to learn, and it makes more sense time and time as time goes by, because Lord knows I've been running with big horses, right? With the Budweiser Klondike bar, things type of things, right? But it really broke down when I said something is not right. It doesn't feel right.
Yes.
I'm in this place and space. I don't feel like I match it. I believe that I'm supposed to be here, but I don't know why I'm here. Jeremiah 29:11. Yeah, 29:11. That's for I know the plans I have for you. Now I do know that one, Pastor G. I know that one, right? To not to harm, which I had an issue with that one too. And I'm a maybe sometime we can get into that conversation why I had an issue with that. But that's what helped me in this journey. It was literally was that quote. That scripture literally was one of the pinnacle scriptures that helped me turn things around in the way I thought about me and my life and what has occurred, because we can go into the blame, right? Well, I was molested. Well, I'm this, I'm that, and then it just further diminishes you, right? And it further dims your light. Like I got the lights on and I can turn them up and I can turn them off, right? Those statements are powerful in your spirit.
Yes. And I think what's so interesting is, as you were saying, your life was lifing. For those who are just joining, Carolyn has shared that she was victimized from sexual abuse as a child, interpersonal violence as an adult, and some other traumas that have occurred. And that could have been your narrative, right? That could have been the story or the main themes of your story throughout your life. But it sounds like within the last 10 years, you decided to take the horse by the reins and create a new narrative. Now, these are events that have taken place in your life's journey, but you're saying, I'm being active in my life in creating a new narrative, one that is leading me into and on the path of the life that I so desire.
Right.
And so with that, when did Magnify Your Essence come into play?
Because of me being on this quest for learning about me. Because it was just something that just kept nagging at me, saying something's not right. Something's not right. Like I'm in these places and spaces, back to that.
Yes.
And I'm like, my life doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Here it is, my son at the time, where was he? Was he in? I don't know where he was. Let me see, 10 years ago. He was just finishing. He attended Princeton University. So here it is. I'm a single mom. I have my son going to one of the top prestigious universities in the world. And once again, I'm in boards. I'm doing all kinds of great. I'm in management. I'm doing the thing. I'm living the life, right? I have my advanced degrees. I have 3 degrees. I have all this stuff, but I didn't feel it, right? I didn't feel like it matched. It seemed like a mixed match. So I was literally doing a timeline of my life. So, and I'm giving myself grace by saying, you know, the 35 and 45 years, it truly was my whole life.
Yeah.
Because my abuse started as when I was an infant, all the way to my teenage years. And then I just went right into one after another types of relationships that did not serve me. Right. So literally, you know, I was this year's old today when I was like, okay, Carolyn, if you got the rest of your life, you got more years behind you than you have ahead of you. It's time to make this count.
Yeah.
So be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. So I kept seeking to God. I said, okay, something has to give. Something has to give. And it was all in this pinnacle moment of, you know, my pastor who's on, she was just coming to our congregation, and she had a celebration for her birthday, was in March. And we had, you know, it was a celebration for her. And I remember everything that happened was just God ordained. And one of the key pinnacle moments and songs that happened and occurred, the message was Tasha Cobb's Breaking Chains.
Gotcha.
Totally, like, everyone lost it. There's too many stories, too much to go into detail with that particular story. But that was pinnacle, Breaking Chains. So I was like, okay, I'm hearing you. And so at that moment, I'm still trying to figure stuff out, and I'm asking God, okay, something has to give. My life has to be much different than what this is. I feel it. Once again, be careful what you ask for. So my father, who I talked about, hasn't been in my life. Haven't seen him in over 30, at the time, over 35 years. So then I find out some information that reconnected me with my father, but not in a kumbaya way.
Yes.
And it was because he was still molesting another person.
Oh no.
And I got wind of it. So now I had to make a choice. Now, a lot of people would have been turn their cheek. Like, that's not my problem. I got my life to live. I'm doing this, and oh well, I can't deal with that. But this is something so God basically was like, okay, daughter, this is what you asked for, and it's not going to be in a pretty bow. You said you want to do the work. How bad do you want it? So I'm presenting this to you. So I was like, okay, all right. So then this is what I have to do, and that was one of the pinnacle moments, because there's many pinnacle moments, right?
Yeah.
But that was the one that really got everything started, when I had to readdress, because I had came to the conclusion of, oh yeah, I could say I was molested. That was okay. I could say it, but that was it. I can tell people that I was in domestic violence relationships, but I never really worked through any of those things. I worked through the domestic violence stuff, right? I worked through those things, but I never really truly got to the core of it, which was the sexual abuse.
Yeah.
So here it is. Now I have a choice to make.
Yep.
And so I chose to deal with it head on. Someone asked me the other day, like, how did you get to that point? How did you could talk about it so freely? I said, because I decided to meet it head on. I decided to meet it head on. Like, I wasn't running from it any longer. And I had to accept everything that came with it. I had to accept all the pain that came with it, because, whoa, boy, it was unearthing. It was unearthing a whole lot of stuff.
And it's interesting, as you're talking about it, most of the authors who I've spoken to, including myself in my writings, it was a matter of doing exactly what you're saying. You have to deal with things head on. And that's why I put hashtag head on in there, because until you do the work, it remains unresolved. A lot of times people talk about conflict resolution externally, but there's also conflict resolution internally. And the only way to resolve your internal conflicts is to do the work and deal with it head on. And for a lot of people, journaling, writing becomes cathartic for them. So now you have a number of books out, and I put, for those who are in the chat, I put the link in the chat, and I'll drop it in again. on your Amazon store. Let's start to talk about some of these books. What's the first book that you published?
Magnified Thoughts.
Of course.
Of course. Magnified Thoughts.
Do tell.
Magnified Thoughts. So once again, that was the journey, right? That's where it began with you talked about journaling and writing. And, I needed something to deter myself, I guess, or to not deter myself, but to occupy my space and to keep me from losing every last scruple of my brain, right?
Okay.
So I just, something just came over me and was like, well, like you have all these things that you've accomplished, even in the midst of your mess, right? You've accomplished all these great things. You went back to school as an adult, you earned all these degrees, you volunteer, you do so many wonderful things. So let's start to share those things. So I started doing these something called a power hour. I did a power hour. It was just a one-time thing. I said, let me just go to the library and let me just have this event. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, I did not know that this thing was going to turn into a thing. And so I started off with that. And then and also in the process, I'm writing, and I said, well, Carolyn, this is time to now. Well, let me back it up. Before I start doing that, I went and I said, it's time to work on me. I'm my own project. It's project me. Like, okay, something has to give. We have to, and I'm doodling, I'm jotting. So for everyone out there, if you're doodling or you're just find yourself aimlessly writing something, you don't know why you're writing it, something popped in, pay attention. That's your soul revealing your blueprint.
Yes.
Pay attention to those things. It's not just random gibberish. It's your blueprint.
Yes.
It's your blueprint. So Project Me, and I still have the scribble scrap. Project Me turned into, I was like, Project Me. I said, so what does me stand for? Because it's about me. So I start analyzing stuff. I like acronyms. You'll start to see in a minute.
You and me both.
Okay. I was like, me. I said, so what about me? Me. I'm magnificent. Yeah, okay. I'm marvelous. Okay, that's great. I was jotting all these M words. I said, okay, what about E? I said, excellent and I elevate and then I landed on essence, and I was like, oh, okay, wait a second. Essence is your core, your soul. It's who you are. And I was like, oh, I'm actually trying to elevate that. Oh, pause. What's Carolyn, you're in the journey to magnify your. This is the conversation I'm having with myself.
I got you.
You're on this journey to magnify your essence.
Yes.
So you can come back to your true you. Like all that other stuff that occurred wasn't mine. It wasn't my burden to carry. That's why this thing that was innate within me was trying to come out. That's why things wasn't feeling right.
Yes.
That's why I was like, okay, if I didn't like the past 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years, then I need to make a change for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
That's right.
So it won't be the same.
That's right.
Right? Now, will it be, will I stumble? Absolutely, right? Because I'm still learning in this process.
That's right.
I'm only 10 years in.
Yes.
I'm only 10 years in of really knowing who I am.
That's right. I think that's what, let me pause you right there, because I think that's sitting with some people right now, right? We have to remember that when we start something, although we may chronologically be a certain age, we haven't been doing it the whole time. So that newness, when you're just doing, like when I started my business, which is now 19 years old, but when I started it, thank you very much. When I started it, and it was 2 years in, I said, you're a toddler in this, right? There's still things for you to figure out. There's things that you don't know. There's experiences that you haven't had. And so you have to give yourself, some people call it grace, leniency, growth opportunities for you to discover and learn along the way. And so that's what it sounds like. You gave yourself permission, right, to learn during this author's journey. And so in this first book, as you're still discovering who you are and the path that you want to take, you then share how your blueprint in the first book, which is Magnified Thoughts. Magnified Thoughts. And then what came next after Magnified? There it is with the cute cover.
Listen, when, like I said, thank you. The that cute cover. That cute cover. Hold on. I got. So there's no excuse. And somebody's going to hear this today on the replay. Like, no excuses. I want you guys to put in the chat, no excuses.
Come on, y'all.
Like, no excuses. And I'm going to tell you why. No excuses. So if God gives you something, those doodles, if God gives you a vision, that's because he, she, whatever you choose to call your higher power, is entrusting you to execute it. In the way he sees fit.
Yes.
Right? So this whole magnified thoughts, I thought about it. It was downloaded to me, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna do a book. It's going to be called Magnified Thoughts. I already know what the cover going to look like. I'm going to be thinking like these downloads were coming to me, right? Very, very clear. So I was like, all right, well, I can't go and say, well, I don't have any money to write a book. No, I never confirmed nor denied anything. So you know what I did? I said, okay. So at the time when now there's nothing called coincidence. There's nothing called, happenstance. It's providence. Providence is anything and everything that's ordained by God. So as I'm in that space of, I'm gonna write a book, and it's gonna be called Magnified Thoughts. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. And I already know what the cover gonna look like. But Dad, I gotta do a photo shoot. But how I'm gonna do that? Well, there was a thing called Cheltenham Mall. And there's a thing called Cheltenham Mall. I remember I ran into, I got asked to speak in the beginning because now I'm doing a blog. I was very, I started Magnify Your Essence. I was blogging. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't even visible. You didn't know who I was. I was still behind the scenes. Yes. And then somehow I got invited to speak at the African American Museum, my very first time speaking, to be on a panel, which I never got a chance to speak. But hey, I made a flyer for it. I'm on a panel. So, and I ran into, and the person I was next to was Minera. She's a funeral director. Okay. So I'm still friends with her. Shout out to her. She just opened her own funeral parlor. She's a woman, Black-owned funeral parlor home. And so she showed me her book. She was like, yeah, I did it myself. And I was like, you did? She's like, yeah, I created my own cover with my phone. I said, you did? So here it is. God put person in my place to say, okay, this is what you're going to do. So here, this is what you do. So then one day I'm in Cheltenham Mall, like I said, Cheltenham Mall. And remember the little photo booths?
I knew you were going to say it. Yes.
The picture people paces. Yep. You just go get a little $10 picture, $20 picture. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go into the mall, and I was going to go to that one, but then they happened to have had another one that was a studio, right? It actually had a different type of studio. Yeah. And I inquired, and they said, oh yeah, you can come in and do a photo shoot. It was like $125. $125 felt like $1,000 10 years ago. Time. Yes. Right? And I was like, well, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. Now, mind you, at the time, my hair, I was stressed out from everything that was going on with my dad. I needed to find something to reoccupy my time. I was doing these empowerment sessions. My hair started to fall out. I went to the store. I started buying wigs because I was like, our crown is our glory. I was like, So I was like, I don't do makeup. So what am I going to do? Oh, it's something called Hair Town. They had a makeup counter. And I asked the lady, I said, can you make me up for $10? I went to the show. She put samples all on my face, and she made my face up for $10. Wow. And then I had my t-shirt, I had my shirt, and I was like, okay, I had my pants that I think I got from the thrift store. I don't know. And I had my boots on. I said, this is what I'm going to wear. And I went and paid $125 and had a photo shoot. I had all these pictures, and I made sure I had one that was like this.
Thinking.
I was thinking, looking up because of the thoughts. So there goes my photo shoot. There goes my pictures. There goes. And I had it. And I think I did. When did I do that? It was like 2014 or.
Y'all, I'm going to stop you just in one more. Y'all, do y'all hear where there is a will, there is a way, right? She was clear that this assignment was to be completed, on social media. They talk about understood the assignment. She understood that this assignment was to be completed, and she went in with no excuses. There was going to be a way to get this done. And this is why each author's journey is so important to find out, because there's so many people who are saying, I don't have the money for ... right? And you're sharing your story of how, no, Somebody told you something, you said, yep, I can do it. There were other opportunities are there. Nowadays, the excuses are exactly that, excuses.
They're
There was
excuses.
a time when there were reasons why you couldn't do things, but those are far and few in between. So please take away for those of you who are thinking, be it you want to write a book, you have a film, a documentary, anything that you desire to do. You want to start your own business, a t-shirt company, whatever it is, take the excuses out and be about your business. There is a way. All right. So now come on, let's tell because our time is a ticking.
I know.
You
I
get to
told you
that next story. I know.
we have to do a part 2 and 3 and 4.
I got ready to say we're gonna have a second part, but let's talk about the second story, the second book.
So that, but there's no excuses, and I have to finish this thought out.
Oh, go ahead.
Because then what happens when you're in that progress, then doubt kicks in. Mm-hmm. Don't listen to it.
Very good.
So this book sat on my computer because I had already worked it out. I had everything together. Got her, like I said, gave me the blueprint, but I didn't believe in it. It sat on my computer for 3 years.
Yes. Not 3.
3 years sat on my computer. And every time I kept saying, coming soon. It ain't coming nowhere. It's coming. It ain't going nowhere. I was fooling myself. I did the work, and then I would, because you know why? Because it was different. And then I started going, who am I? Like, I'm not an author. I can't do this. Well, now I'm playing small, but God didn't make me to be small because of Jeremiah 29:11. He didn't make me to be small.
That's right.
I'm supposed to play all out. So it took me to have one eye. No excuses, one eye. I wound up getting sick. I had autoimmune issues, and I had to get surgery on my eye. So I was literally with one eye. Eye shut. Stitches.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there. And God was like, do it now. But I only got one eye. And so I sat on my couch with my computer with one eye. See me with one eye?
Yes.
And I finished the book with one eye.
Wow.
No excuses. No excuses. Oh, and it gets even, it keeps going. Now you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in the things, listen, Hebrews 11:1, you have to have the faith of the things unseen, right?
Yes.
The now faith. I just believe God was continuously showing me things, and I just kept believing. I kept believing. I kept believing. And there's more stories with this magnified thoughts. But at the same time, I co-authored 2 other books with 2 other individuals, 2 amazing ladies. At the same time, I came out with 3 books. So it was Magnified Thoughts. Then it was
Magnified Books. That's what you did.
That part. 3 books. I came out with 3 books at the same time.
Wow.
Magnified Thoughts, and they all became bestsellers, #1 bestsellers.
Come on.
Magnified Thoughts was my book, but it came out after. Watch this. It came out after I had already did these other 2 books. So there was no ego thing. I didn't say, well, I'm working on my own book. No. If God placed me in their midst, the one was my good friend out in Texas. I told her, if you do a book, I'll be in it.
Okay.
And then she called my bluff and she said, I'm going to do a book. I'm like, crap, now I got to be in it. So, and I'm glad that I was. It was called I'm Fine, A Woman's Silent Cry. That was that book. Then an author that was in her book, I need y'all to pay attention how this works. An author that was in her book was also doing a book. And I kept seeing this title and I didn't want to do it. I fought with it because it was called His Grace is Sufficient. He turned my mess into a message. And I'm in this whole positive thoughts, changing my mindset. And I can't admit to my life being a mess. But it kept coming to me. And I'm going, all right, I guess I'm supposed to be in this book. So those 3 books, that was my trilogy. His Grace is Sufficient. He turned my mess into a message. I'm Fine, A Woman's Silent Cry. And then Magnified Thoughts. A transformational journey to reveal your amazing you. So those are the first 3 books out the gate. So then now what do I do with it? I'm still in disbelief. So we move forward. God gave me this whole thing about her. And I'm like, okay. And I paused on it. So then I jumped into a book with Les Brown and Dr. Cheryl Wood called You Are Enough. And so I jumped into that book. So now I'm up to what, 4? Right. So I'm up to 4 books. So I'm like, okay, I did that book, I did that project, and then the pandemic happened, and I'm resurfacing with this her, and God kept downloading what her stood for, and then it was like, it's time. Okay, her, healed, empowered, resilient. When you're healed from something, you're empowered.
Yes.
And if you're empowered, you're resilient to anything and everything that comes your way.
Yes.
So that, and he told me to literally the assignment. I understood the assignment. He told me to pollinate the world. So literally, this book, Her Story, has 25 women from every continent.
Wow.
Every continent. Healed, empowered, resilient. Her.
Wow.
So in the process of doing this, I'm also doing my conference. I'm in this thing, right?
You're
I'm
in the flow.
touring. I'm doing a book tours. I'm doing pop-ups. Celebrating other authors. Like now, this thing is doing its own thing. Yeah. Remember, I went to Showham Mall, paid $10 to get my face made up. to eventually being on the cover of Women's World magazine. Hello, like, I'm just saying,
come on.
Use you. God will use you where you're at. Like God will use you no matter. You just, all you have to do is say yes. So what I did at that event that my pastor had, I gave God my yes. Shekinah glory. Yes.
That's where my mind went. Yes.
So now when he downloads something to me and I go, really? Okay. I may backpedal a little bit, but then I'm like, all right, you know what? I trust you, right? I have to be obedient. So because of my obedience, her story, 25 women all around the world, then turned into him story. Men that are honorable, intelligent, matured. 15 kings from around the world. Oh, I'm sorry. And then here we go. Her story too. Together overcoming obstacles. Another set of 25 women. And yet there's a third one about to drop. So,
all right.
So and that's because God said so.
Yes.
And I just did it. No excuses, unapologetically. I could have just said, I don't know these people. I don't know how this is going to get done. I don't know. But, and listen, I still don't know. I just follow what my father tells me to do. That's it. Without any excuses. Right? Yeah. And that's what I show, like, to this day. And that's what I meant to write down. Like, my resume is insane. And it's not to impress upon anybody or to but it's really to show what God can do
when you're obedient.
When you're obedient and when you believe. So I'm gonna take it back to when I was going through everything and I was trying to figure this stuff out. And I said, you know what? No one could really help me. So I ended up going to a support group. Yes, I went to counseling. Yes, we do go to counseling. Come on. It's important. If you worry about your physical health, you have to worry about your mental health as well. Right. So I went to, I was like, okay, I signed up. I was intentional. Watch this, intentional. If you have a foot problem, you don't go to a brain surgeon for your foot.
That's right.
So I was intentional for looking for a therapist that had a spiritual base, because I really don't care what it is, as long as you understand it's a power that's higher than you and it's good for good. I needed a therapist with a spiritual base. I needed a therapist that dealt with trauma. I needed a therapist that dealt with incest. I needed a I was very
you were clear. And you were clear about what you needed.
Yes, that's what I needed. Yeah. And at the same time, I also sought out a support group. And the funny thing is, I sought out a support group, and it was like an anonymous group. And it was so funny because they want me to leave my number. Why am I leaving their number? Why are they not picking up the phone? And I was like, oh, duh, Carolyn is anonymous. Okay. So I finally got connected with them, and it was a blessing. Because it opened my eyes to this world of trauma. And for me to understand, oh, that's what I was dealing with. That's called trauma?
Yes.
Oh, I was triggered. Oh, I started learning all this stuff, and I started understanding. I started understanding me and what why I was the way I was, and why certain people are the way they are, and how I interact with the people, right? And how to guard myself from certain things, right? So I'm at this retreat, because they had a retreat. So you have to come to the retreat. Okay, came to the retreat. And at the retreat, I couldn't really, this is me. I'm okay with it now. But they were like role playing. They did something with your inner child. I'm like, why am I running around like I'm 5 years old color? I didn't understand the importance of that because I was a little ignorant to it, but I understand it now, and I have embraced my inner child, and I've freed her now, right?
Yes.
But at the time, I wasn't ready for that. I was very green in the whole situation of healing. I was green in the situation of healing, right?
Yes.
So here we go. They're doing like all kinds of role play stuff. And I'm like, this is getting a little crazy. So I saw a workshop that's called spirituality. I said, oh, that's right up my alley. Let me go to the spirituality workshop. I think I can do with that one. And so the woman said, we sat in a circle, because everything is in circles, right? Yes. Hi, my name is Carolyn, right? Yes. So everything is in a circle. And the assignment was, we had to write down, and the prompt was, I need you to listen carefully, because words have power in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions.
Come on.
In a perfect world, my higher power would say what about me? And I sat there for a second like, that doesn't sit well with my spirit. Because in a perfect world, I know I'm not perfect, but in a perfect world, so therefore I'm already diminishing myself, because I don't believe that I'm in a perfect world. I'm already admitting that things are wrong and things aren't right. That's one. My higher power would say what about me? So my God is not going to edify me because my life is a mess.
Right.
That's what that was conceding to. And I was like, no, I don't like it. So then, for some reason, once again, like I said, I've been in church, so stuff stick, and I don't know, it just comes out. Jeremiah 29:11 came to my mind, and I start writing it down. And as I'm writing it down, and I don't know how I knew that scripture, word for word, but I start writing it down, and I start having a problem with it when I got to the part about not to harm me. And I'm like, whoa, pause. Wait a minute, God. I was molested. I was harmed. And I was like, whoa. I'm not feeling this. First, I don't like what she's saying for this prompt. Now you're telling me that you're not going to harm me, but to give me hope for a future. And then I went, oh, wait, hope for a future. Oh, wait a second. Let me think about this. If I'm here and I'm able to talk about it, then therefore I wasn't harmed. If I'm still of sound mind, then therefore I wasn't harmed, because there are a lot of people that went through the same situation that I went to, and they are not physically here, mentally here, spiritually here.
Yes.
So therefore, okay, God, then you did protect me. You do have plans for me. So now that I understand this, then, okay, we're going to change this whole narrative around, because in my perfect world, my higher power is telling me that I am wonderful. I am great. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I turned that whole thing around.
Yes, you did.
So because it's the power, it's your thoughts, it's your words, it's everything you put into it, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But I remember when it was time for us to now disclose what we wrote, and everyone went around in a circle, and I'm watching one by one, Kathleen, I watched one by one, everyone feeling so defeated, one by one saying, well, my higher power, kind of would, even their body language would, would, because my life was this, like they were already defeated. So there's no coincidence that I went at the place that I went.
Yeah.
So about 3/4 through, because I think it was maybe like 3 people after me.
Yes.
And so then I went, and then I say, well, I'm challenging this statement.
Yes.
And I said it just as bold and as powerful, and everything that I just shared with you guys this evening. And when I tell you there was a shift in the room, everyone sat up. Everyone paid attention. The ones who went after me changed. what they were going to say. They said, now after hearing you, I'm thinking a little differently about what I wrote.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew my voice had power. My story had power. And what I thought about myself, what I spoke about myself, what I intended, the intention that I did. I got it, but I didn't really get it until we were about to leave. And I had this, it was all over. I had no breakthrough until I was about to leave. Because I was just like, I'm just here. And I had one person tell me, wow, like you're going to be on stages. I'm going to come and see you. And I'm like, oh yeah, ha 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 ha. Then this one girl, and I never forget her, she came to me and she said, wait a second, I just want to tell you something. She's like, it's something about your voice.
Yeah.
She's like, because I was there, but I pretty much wasn't really connected. But when you spoke,
yes,
I listened. There's something about your voice that I will never forget. And I tell you, I broke down, boo-hoo, bawling, like snot coming out my nose, like, oh, we embraced, we hugged. And at that moment, that's when I knew it was like, okay, all right, this is important.
Was your breakthrough.
This was important. And so now it's because for me, by being in that space and understanding the process, because you have to go through the process.
Yes.
One, you have to meet people where they're at. I'm not a therapist, and I tell people I'm not. People think I am, but I'm not. But because there's a place for that. Like I'll send them to you. I'll send them to pass. I'll send you. But once you do start the work,
yes,
then where do you go?
Yeah.
Then what do you do? Then how do you move? That's where I come into play.
Well, you know what? As you're saying it, I'm just thinking about people who are writing, whether it be in their journal or whether they're working on a book. Because so many times people will be writing a book and then they'll stop, right? It seems like it just stops and then it sits. And you talked about how it sat on your computer for 3 years, right? But in those 3 years, while the book was marinating, and the world was being prepared for it, you were also being prepared to present the information when it became time. And so, you know, one of my statements is always, I trust the process because I trust the capital P processor, right? So we have to know that, to your point of obedience, we start the journey with the writing. You get those inklings, you do your scribbles, you do your doodles, and you start to write down what's coming to you. You don't know what it's going to turn into. You don't know when you'll release it until it's time to be released. And there's a difference between when it's time to be released and you trying to force something or you holding something back. And so being in alignment with when the book is to come out is very important. Now we have about 5 minutes left in this episode. What are some, first of all, before I go into that, tell the people you've been on a worldwide book tour with these books. Where are some places that this obedience, this book writing has taken you?
It has taken me to the beautiful island of Barbados twice. It has taken me to amazing, gorgeous Bahamas. It has taken me to the beautiful country in South America called Guyana. It has taken me to London. It has taken me to a lot of the states within the United States. So far, right? And yet the journey continues. It continues. It continues. And without any fear, like just move forward and do it anyway. No excuses. Because when you try, my thing is your nose will get you nowhere. Your nose will get you nowhere. When you say yes, like in Shekinah Glory, you give God your yes. The yes will continue to open up new doors. All you have to do is go through them. Just trust what's through that door. And if you go through it without any expectation, without any, hows and whats, just go. Because this journey, and this is only a snippet, of stuff with the books. I've also became what is the forward author on two books already, about to do a third one. I did a film. I helped people on their films. Like, I became a filmmaker. Like,
I got ready to say thank you. Can we back up real quick, because I want to shout you out for this film that was in our film festival a few years ago, and will now be where in a couple of weeks?
Down in New Orleans, something called the Essence Festival. Now, let me give full disclaimer. So I became a finalist. Can't take that from me.
Yes.
And my film is 30 minutes, so it holds a lot of real estate. And they only have a certain amount of films they can show in a film festival. So my film will not be screened. Okay. However, it was selected.
Excellent.
Period. Point blank. Essence.
That's that right. Part. Essence 2024. We were together when you got that message, or shortly
and I didn't even know what to do with it. I was like, what does this mean?
Yes.
What does this mean? Because, like I said, God just continues to open up these doors and these windows, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with this stuff. But I gotta sit back and I gotta go, okay, I trust you. I trust you because you gave this to me for a reason.
That's right.
There's a reason why these women and men from around the world, like him story, I got these men to open up.
Yes, you did.
Like God has given me this assignment.
Yes.
And I don't take it lightly.
Yes.
And I know that it's a worldly assignment. Yes. And I know that everyone and anything that crosses my path is part of it. And now it's up to them to continue. I can tell you that some of my authors have taken their chapter and created conferences out of it.
Yes.
Some of my authors have now created their own anthology. So this is how it works.
Yeah.
You keep the ball going.
Magnifies.
You magnify it. It's not just, the spotlight's not just on me. I turn it up for everybody.
That's right.
Right? Because there's enough room at this table. I've had a seat at the table. And there's enough room for everyone at the table, but you still have to do the work.
Yes.
You have to
say it again. You still have to what?
Do the work. Do the work. Faith without work is
flatline.
Flatline.
Right.
That part. Period.
All right. So people can follow you. You see, her linked tree is right there. So
that's the easiest way.
Carolyn Wilson. So first and foremost, go there. Be sure to follow her. Check out her books. Like I said, on the YouTube side of life, come over to my page and subscribe at Ask Dr. Walls 525. In the write-up, there is a link that will take you directly to her page on Amazon. If you're in the chat, you should be able to copy and paste the link there as well. You definitely want to check out her work. Y'all already heard. She has so much to share, so much to give.
It's too much.
There's no way. We knew we couldn't get it done in an hour. We knew this was just a little taste.
God ordered the steps and orchestrated the words that come out of my mouth. So whoever is supposed to hear this, they're supposed to hear parts of this journey, because I'm leaving breadcrumbs. Right? I'm leaving breadcrumbs for someone else to then be able to take them and follow along, no matter where you're at in your life. No matter what you're dealing with.
That's
right? There's always hashtag growth.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Hashtag I'm still 10 years old. I didn't even hit 11 yet. Like, woo, I'm still a kid.
You're still tweening.
I'm still tweening.
Yes.
I don't even think I'm tweening yet. I'm 10.
Yeah, 8 to 12. You're a tween. You're not a teen. You're a tween. Yes.
I'll take it.
Show the people your covers again, so they know when they go on Amazon.
Bam.
Yes. Come on. Bring up the next.
Bam.
Come on. Woo. We're in the library now. Yes. There we go.
Bam.
Yes. And there's more to come.
And there's more. God has just been a blessing, and I can't, none of this would have been possible without God entrusting me with this assignment. And so my charge to anyone that's out here that's listening to me, it's not by accident, it's by providence, as we stated. There's something that God wants you to do, and he sent me to tell you that it's time.
All right.
You know what it is. Do it fearlessly. Do it anyway. Don't worry about the how. You really truly don't even need to know the what. You just got to go forward and leap and just do it. this journey continues. This journey continues. This journey continues. So.
Well, y'all done heard it. She done spoke it. I'ma shake a tambourine to it. I'ma shake 2 tambourines to it. All right, y'all do understand the assignment and complete the assignment. It's on you. All right, y'all know me. Be sure to follow me here at Ask Dr. Walls 525 on the YouTube side of life. You can check out my books, The Adventures of Froggy T and Bunny, A Hip Hop Tale. Book number 5 just came out on 525. Thank you very much. So, Careless Schoolless Colt is in there. And like I said, that's book number 5 from The Adventures. And then there are my other books, Live by the Spirit and The Greatest Soul Journey. And like you, I love a good acronym. And the greatest stands for God restores excellence, activates talents, encourages spiritual transformation. So yes, so you can check all of that out. That's all on my website at askdrwalls.com, AskDrWalls.com. All right, y'all. So I'll be back on this Vodcast thing next Thursday with my husband, Brother Edamoja Herman. We will be doing Stronger together. And we have a wonderful guest who'll be joining us, Nafis Ricks, who just graduated with his second master's in counseling. And we're going to be looking at men's mental health. So you talked about mental health and mental health awareness and taking care of it. We're going to be talking about it next Thursday. So be sure to join us back here at Ask Dr. Walls 525 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. Carolyn, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, wonderful. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And you know I will see you out and about.
Yeah, because it's been a long time coming.
Come on, yes. And congratulations with Essence and enjoy. I know that's coming up. And to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. And we will see you later. All right, y'all. As always, continue to live your greatest life. God bless.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.